When you think of top tier characters, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more negative responses than positive. The upper rankings of Smash Ultimate feature units who tower above everyone else in performance and attributes, but with how PvP games force you to be on the receiving end of their power and less so dishing it out, it's usually met with frustration and anger than appreciation. As you all know by now, Smash Bros is not fairly made. Some members of the roster are given more privileges than others without having to make any sacrifices for them, and that's usually what allows them to be so effective. Even before DLC was introduced, when you try to compare Sonic, Rob, or Shulk to the rest of the cast, it makes you wonder if they were designed by two separate teams. There's one exception though, at least for me. Placements may differ, but you can expect to find Wolf in the top 10 to 15 of almost every tier list. In contrast to other top tiers, Wolf doesn't really stand out in any egregious particular way, but that's actually what led to his widespread popularity and use, and it's getting even more prominent as we're increasingly facing a meta that challenges our ability to adapt and adjust to every possible situation you can think of. For today, I want to discuss who I believe to be the most respectable top tier in the game. Welcome everyone to Why Everyone Plays Wolf.
Give me Wolf, please! Bro, you already know. 50
Now, I don't know how useful VPNs are in space, but I can imagine browsing security might be necessary while they're on planets, so how about we talk about today's sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is a virtual private network that allows you to surf the web completely anonymously by stopping websites from tracking you, masking your IP address to keep your location and identity hidden so you don't get hit by targeted ads and the like. It also helps you bypass location restrictions. If, let's say, you're trying to watch a video or download something that's not available in your home country, you can set your proxy location to anywhere else around the world to circumvent that restriction. For all intents and purposes, they protect you while you're browsing the internet, and given how almost every electronic device interfaces with the web these days, Surfshark has an app for all platforms: PC, Mac, Linux, smartphones, smart TVs, game consoles, what have you. There's also a few other services they offer like Surfshark Alert, Antivirus, and Search, each taking care of their own things, so if you have an affinity for consolidating all of your internet and computer security softwares into one provider, then you can do so here as well. They do have a strict no logs legal policy, which means Surfshark themselves will not save any of your data so you can use the app without worrying that the app itself is tracking you. If you still aren't using a VPN and would like to get one, head on over to surfshark.com/smashbros or use the code SMASHBROS to get an 83% discount plus 3 extra months for free. There's also a link in the description below for your convenience. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring the video, but for now let's get back to why everyone plays Wolf. I think I speak for many when I say Nintendo intentionally made Wolf the last revived character during Ultimate's reveal trailer. Don't get me wrong, I was happy to see Pikachu, Snake, young Link and whatnot, but come on, it's Wolf. Wolf is cool, he looks cool, he sounds cool, he's just really cool looking, and his playstyle attests to that cool factor. Smash, and by extension every competitive game that involves character selection, has a meta-philosophical role-playing component to it where players are attracted to characters whose personality or theme appeals to them, whether or not it actually helps their tournament performance. It's why Leo prefers sword characters like Byleth or Pyra and Mithra, even though everyone believes he's at his best when playing Joker. On top of many players being excited to see Wolf make a return to Smash, the vast amount of changes to his kit and design were able to solidify his position not only in the meta but between his two fellow reps, Fox and Falco. From Melee to Ultimate, the three of them have become progressively more distinguishing characteristics, not just in appearance but also win conditions, and Wolf was made to be the generalist of that group. Looking through some of the characters in my Why No One Plays series, you'll find that many of them possess a wide range of tools and attacks that can apply to a lot of situations involving either offense or defense. Likewise, in Why Everyone Plays, there's a recurring trend among the roster where they feel like they're well equipped for any situation, explaining their widespread popularity. There's also a number of cast members who are popular and or successful for specializing in one thing. The circumstances vary, but on paper, a character who is 100% in X Factor and 50% at Y will at times feel more practical to use than a character who is 75% in X and 75% in Y, even if they both average out at the same total number of 150%. For those of you who watched the Why No One Plays episode on Robin, you may find this contradictory to what I said about how the smaller the range of variation, the better, but the number of variants in this case is different. To better explain this, let's take a look at what Fox and Wolf have going for them, starting with the former. Fox has carried a reputation for being the glass cannon to end all glass cannons, a lightweight fast faller who trades all semblance of durability and survival in favor of devastating speed and power. Assuming the X is power and Y is defense, that applies very well to how Fox is as a character. That being said, optimizing Fox's offensive capabilities consequently mitigates how punishing his vulnerability is, and since he still has access to universal defensive options like shield, rolls, air dodges, or can flat out avoid getting hit, it's a risk worth taking, and the payoff is most definitely there. Fox has the speed, rushdown, combo game, and pressure as other highly fast and technical characters, while at the same time bearing sufficient damage and kill power to consistently and reliably finish the job. As for Wolf, though he also leans on the side of attack, attack, attack just like his rival, he's universally considered to be in the middle ground between Fox and Falco, where Fox is all about rushdown and Falco is a legendary punish game. Credit where credit is due, no one will try to argue against Wolf having very solid mobility and punish game across the board. But in regards to his moveset, comparing frame data alone, Fox has his rival outclassed. Wolf's main combo starters, for example, average out at around frame 7 with attacks like neutral air, forward air, and up air. Meanwhile, Fox's combo starters are around half that, such as up tilt, dash attack, neutral air, and down air. Wolf is slower by a considerable margin, but he does have a more lenient margin for error and a far safer neutral game, allowing him more opportunities to compose himself and re-engage, whereas Fox can just straight up die in 2 or 3 mistakes. Interestingly, however, despite Fox's greater offensive potential, Wolf has empirically seen more presence in all levels of play, despite being a jack of all trades. That's because, rather than being 75% in every respect, he's actually more on the 85 if not 90 percentile, making him above average at everything, just enough to where you can make up the remaining 10 to 15% through skill alone. Wolf's neutral game has often been described as predictable since he kinda does the same handful of tricks like spam blaster or approach with falling nair or forward air or reach or grab. What people tend to forget is that just because something is predictable doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Opponents might see things coming and anticipate them, but there's no guarantee they have a response to it. His blaster is noticeably stronger than the other two species despite being slower, and his transcendent property makes it one of the best at racking up damage, forcing approaches, and then disrupting said approaches, arguably one of the best projectiles in the game. The use of his blaster also means that his slightly worse frame data is hardly ever noticeable. If you have a spammable projectile, that means you can stay comfortably where you are and wait for your opponent to come to you. That means they have to spend extra time closing the distance on him, thus rendering their faster frame data or better range not as relevant, since the only time where that actually matters is if both characters are going head to head with each other. Just recently, I talked about how Sora's immaculate defensive play and whiff punish game is made less apparent since he doesn't exert enough pressure from a distance to force approaches. Blaster doesn't have any kill power, but that thing does like 8 to 10% per shot. If the person playing Wolf chooses, they can effectively just camp and spam neutral B to get you to 200% then run in for a back throw. Range pressure is never a bad thing. Speaking of range, despite being part of the brawler archetype, Wolf's attack range is a grade above the fast boys like Mario, Fox, and Sheik. He's definitely no swordy, but I would say he's in the same classification as Ness or Joker. They have slightly larger hitboxes on account of the attack extending a tiny bit further than their body thanks to their magic and dagger respectively. Wolf is exclusively melee in regards to his normals, but the size of his hitboxes is quite generous for that type of attack. Looking at his neutral air, he has 3 attack spots granting more overall coverage. The same goes for back air. While landing the sweet spot can be challenging, the attack itself is deceptively large, again with 3 decently sized hitboxes. One of my why-known place characters who struggled with more effective range was Wii Fit Trainer, and I specifically remember comparing their back airs. Sure, Wii Fit's is a lot faster, but it has laughably worse area coverage. If you ever see a Wolf take on Wii Fit, the idea that Wii Fit has faster frame data almost never comes to mind since they have to be super precise with their spacing. This extends to ground normals as well. Attacks like forward tilt and down smash are full disjoints, with the former reaching far enough to challenge forward tilts from other sorties. Then there's his infamous up smash, having unreasonably good horizontal range even if it's at the cost of power. Comparing Wii Fit's example again, Wolf has better hitboxes in all of his attacks, even the ones that have a sweet and sour spot. Next up is kill pressure. At times I've heard Wolf mains voice their complaints about how the absence of high percent kill setups on him make it ironically more difficult for him to close stocks than either Fox or Falco. And they're not necessarily wrong, but they're not right either. It's true that Wolf doesn't have an easy high percent kill setup like Fox's falling nair or down air into up smash or Falco's up tilt into back air, but he does have one-touch kill options reminiscent of a sword fighter, making him more threatening if you're in a last stock blasted situation. Since I keep bringing up why-known place characters to demonstrate Wolf's capacity in relation to theirs, let's use Pikachu this time. Both characters have a safe way to pressure from a distance, Blaster and Thunder Jolt. Both of them have a kill throw, back throw, and up throw. Now let's talk one-touch kill moves. I don't know how much I should consider smash attacks as those are inherently designed to be kill moves, but what does Pikachu have that kills at 150 or higher? Dash attack, forward air, and maybe side B, although you'd be out of your mind to use Skull Bash and neutral in a last stock last hit. I'm not entirely sure if forward tilt is considered a reliable kill move. I'm sure it is, but I feel like you have to be at 170 or higher, and at that point it's not realistic. Whatever, for the sake of argument, Pikachu has 2 kill options. Up smash can be used as an added shield punish, so we'll say 3. How many does Wolf have? Forward tilt starts killing by around 125, up tilt kills at 130 when sweet spotted, dash attack can launch vertically or horizontally depending on what hitbox connects, but they average out to about 135%. Up smash is frame 13, which I actually won't include because even though Wolf players use up smash out of shield, it's a bit too slow to punish most safe attacks as opposed to Pikachu's up smash, which is frame 10. Then we have Nair, back air, and up air. Case in point, Wolf has a surprising number of straight hit KO moves, something that's rather uncommon for a brawler given they trade knockback scaling for a better combo game. Lack of easy KO options is a sore spot for many unpopular characters like Inkling and Sheik. Smash Ultimate is a volatile game. You can't always bank on percent reliant kill confirms because sometimes you can't find that opening, so it helps to have a backup plan. That's why Roy is so popular, all of his moves can kill. I made these comparisons between Wolf and previous Why No One Plays characters to demonstrate why his Jack of all trades gameplay is a good thing rather than the other way around. He was given more leeway than the others. In a way, Wolf is an example of how to properly design a generalist. If you want someone to be a successful all-around character, you have to make them a B+ A- student instead of a B student. For those outside of the US, you have to be in the 85 to 90 percentile to be good enough as a generalist, whereas the majority of Smash Ultimate's generalists are 80%. That's not high enough to be worth considering. Of course, that's not the only reason Wolf is so popular. True, his numbers are somewhat inflated, but it's also the type of moveset he carries. His option versatility gives way to the aspect that I think is the single biggest factor for why everyone plays him. He's able to control the flow of a match. Control leads to agency, and agency results in player satisfaction. As mentioned before, when facing an opponent who is faster than Wolf, it doesn't feel as difficult to take on as with other characters. Through Blaster and his fluid air mobility, Wolf is able to slow down the pace of a game to a speed he's comfortable with. Having this privilege is extremely valuable and competitive when you're only allowed to lose 1 or 2 games per set at most. Certain characters are locked into playing at a set pace for better or worse. If a matchup just so happens to play at that pace, then you're all good, but when taking on someone who slows or speeds up the game against your will, that can feel frustrating. More often than not, Wolf is the one behind the wheel. He can easily transition from slow to fast or fast to slow. If he wants to scrap, he's got stuff like Nair, forward air, up air, dash attack, and can combo into them through each other, or through up throw and down throw. If he's up against someone who outmashes him like a fighting game character, he can play the whiff punish edge guarding game. Oh yeah, that's something I should probably go over too. Wolf's edge guarding, oh my goodness. Full disclosure, I don't consider 2-framing to be as critical of an asset as someone like Esam, given how tight of a window it is, but Wolf is one exception. He has 3 2-framing options, and they're all huge. Forward tilt, and down smash. Some characters don't even have 1. Actually, no wait, Wolf has 4. Run off side B to ledge is also an option, albeit a very ballsy one. It's hard to argue that Wolf has any substantial weakness to balance out his strengths. Before you say recovery, please go watch my video on recovery if you haven't yet. Wolf's recovery isn't great, but it's good enough to where gimping him isn't as easy as it looks, especially since trying to contest Wolf Flash carries more risk than reward. Then again, that's why he's a top tier. Good combo game, has a kill throw, combo throw is one of the best projectiles in the game, generous hitboxes for a character of his size, and attack style, solid kill power and damage, good tech chasing, passable ground mobility, but stellar air mobility, most prefer the latter anyway, amazing 2-framing potential, he has a sex kick that kills, which is broken in my humble opinion. What I find curious is that Wolf has so much going for him, but is potentially the most respectable top tier in the game. When you think of other top tiers like the Aegis, Joker, Pikachu, Steve, Sonic, a lot of people hate them for abusing some cheese or DLC mechanic, but I've never seen that rhetoric espoused about Wolf. He's objectively overtuned, a jack of all trades, master of almost everything, but he's just at the cusp of being overpowered. Like if they made it so Wolf Flash didn't send him into freefall, or if up smash was frame 11 instead of 13, then the community might start complaining about him. But from what I've experienced, since the start of Ultimate, everyone more or less had a positive opinion on him. Combine that with a very impressive array of tools across the board, and you have a fighter who many would recommend to prospective players. It sounds inconsequential, but respect towards the character plays a meaningful role in deciding if you do or don't want to play a character. I brought this up in Sora's video before, but Smash is a game of influence. If a fighter has a bad reputation for whatever reason, that might discourage players from using them and vice versa. Wolf is broken, but when you take into account all the DLC mechanics or degenerate playstyles comprising the rest of top tiers, it makes him look honest and fair. It also helps that his adaptability naturally makes him receptive to a wide audience. He's very straightforward and easy to understand. You can think of Wolf as the close-range version of Cloud. They're both Fundies characters with a different assortment of stuff, but their main gimmick is flexibility. So that's all I have to say about today. Leave your thoughts on Wolf in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with my points, or if you believe there's something I may have missed about him. I kinda wish we had more top tiers who were like Wolf, well designed and strong without having to rely on some kind of DLC or cheese mechanic. Or I might be wrong, perhaps there's actually a bunch of people who dislike Wolf and I just didn't know. For now though, if you enjoyed today's video, I'd appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe. Consider following me on Twitter at Vars, joining my Discord server, and if you'd like to support me further, then check out my Patreon page. By donating, you get access to benefits for all 3 of my channels, Vars, Vars 2, and Vars 3. Well, till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.